Hey, coaches, welcome to another Football Scoop Online clinic. Today, we've got Travis Niekamp, defensive coordinator at Illinois State. He's going to be talking to us about some drills your defense should be doing. So, Coach, the floor is yours.
Yeah, Doug, I appreciate it. First off, on behalf of our staff, our head football coach, Brock's back, our defensive staff, I'm going to name some names real quick, and then we'll get into the film. But Brian Hendricks coaches our D-line, Kai Stewart coaches our outside linebackers, Mike Banks and Cody Detide both work together and coach our secondary. And our football program, and in general, appreciate the time and the opportunity to speak a little bit of football. What we're going to kind of talk about today is really what we focus on, and that is the details. We've regardless of where you coach, regardless of what level you coach, it's still about developing your players. And from the first time that they get on our campus or your program to when they leave, hopefully you're giving them tools to put in their toolbox to become more and more successful as an individual, regardless of ability level. And this is going to be some of the drills that we're going to talk about. And over the years, as I've kind of coached and been around and talked to different people, I think, the biggest thing is what drills are we doing and why are we using them? And I think that's very, very important. So today we're going to show you some defensive drills. We're going to start off with some good versus good drills, kind of offense versus defensive drills that we've done, not just here at Illinois State, but some other places, I think, that can give you guys some good ideas about how to develop players, both offensively and defensively, more specifically on defense. And then obviously we'll get into some more stuff that is more specifically defense as far as what we do with our guys kind of pre-practice, things that you can probably use year-round, not just when football season is or out of shoulder pads, which I think is pretty important. So what we try to stress to our kids all the time, we're looking at three fundamentals that we're going to stress to them all the time, and the number one is going to be efficient movement. We're going to be as efficient as we possibly can with our movement, change of direction. Those things all play into it. The second thing that we're going to stress is block destruction. We're going to get off of blocks. I think it's really important to understand that. With efficient movement, you can always move faster. You can always find a way to get to the football quicker, and that's obviously in defensive world really important. With the block destruction piece, most defenses are designed to at least try to find a way to get an extra run, an extra hat to the run fit. That makes the game a lot more easy. Unfortunately, offenses are doing a lot of different things, quarterback run game. A lot of you guys in high school are going to see variations of option. Now, all of a sudden, it gets down to maybe the numbers become even 11 versus 11. And at some point in time, someone's going to have to get off a block to win. And we stress the heck out of that because of that. And then the last thing is we talk about tackling. And we focus on those three fundamentals as much as we possibly can in different variances. We'll change up drills. We're going to give you guys a bunch of examples of how we kind of do that. So I'm going to share my screen as we kind of move into this. And obviously, if you guys have questions or thoughts or concerns about anything, don't ever hesitate. As we get into this, we try to encourage our guys as much as we can. We talk about maximizing their potential, and I think that's the most important thing. Again, it kind of comes back to regardless of ability. So the first few drills we'll talk about are kind of good versus good, right? So for us, it's kind of Redbirds versus Redbirds. And this was a drill that we used to do. It's basically kind of an open field tackle drill. And I'm assuming everybody can see this since Doug hasn't chimed in and said, hey, we don't have your screen. But what we've done is I'm going to kind of explain the drill, and I'll give you guys some examples. So what we've done is coaches split this up, and this is a drill that Coach Barry used to run when we were at Louisiana Monroe. But we put offensive players, we disperse them through the field evenly on the hashes and the numbers. We put their feet at the 30-yard line. All four of these offensive players are going to carry a football. And their goal is to do whatever they have to get to the end zone, right? So on the defensive side of it, we match defensive players up in the same area, right, 10 yards away. And that's kind of the magical numbers, 10-yard distance spacing. And what we'll do is when we start the drill, everybody's got a football. So there's four potential carriers. Only one will carry it in the live drill. And then the coach back here will come in. He'll give a point. He'll point to somebody. In this situation, I think he points right here. You're the live ball carrier. He will run. He will approach. Everybody else will then turn it into a pursuit drill. And what we did was you basically had 3 reps as an offense to try and score a touchdown. If you scored on your first carry because a guy broke it and scored a touchdown, then boom, the drill was over. But what this drill I thought was really good about from a defensive standpoint was, number one, is it put a lot of stress on you in an open field situation. It put a lot of stress on you in a pursuit situation. And you had to find a way to make a play. You had to find a way to get a guy down in a good versus good environment. Offensively, what I liked about it, again, is it kind of demonstrated same thing. Who are your playmakers? Who can make plays in space? So it's kind of an evaluation tool also for offense. So we're starting to drill right here. If you notice in this situation, he's the live carrier. As soon as he starts, everybody else keys off of it. And we're going to approach the football and try and get the football down. All right. And again, the way we teach our open field stuff is we're going to compress the distance. We got belt buckle at us. We're going to come to balance, work a near foot, and try and get the football down. And you can incorporate all the different things that you want. This is an end zone shot of it on the exact same rep. So again, it's that young man. So you got different angles, but it puts guys in space. It puts guys in stress, which what this game is all about right now. And it's good versus good. So wherever the ball went down is kind of where we mark it. Second repetition would go. Coach would point to another member on offense. He would carry the football. It was never the same guy. And then just give them opportunities to try and make guys miss. As you can kind of see, right, it's an evaluation tool for the offensive players too, or if the guy's going to fall down. But this is a really nice job here by this guy approaching the football thick and square. And he's in good pursuit angles, right? You can teach all kinds of things, guys. What we end up getting is nobody trusts their speed at our level, right? As soon as the ball declares, everybody wants to start running like this instead of taking good pursuit angles that would take them to get to the football. We don't do a lot of pursuit drills at Illinois State, and the biggest reason why is I think pursuit angles is, the drill itself. I think the effort piece is really, really important, but I think more importantly is guys just understanding whatever angle you need to do to get to the football, that's the most important thing. And again, here's another example of it. So this young man down here is the live carrier. He rushes everybody's trying to approach and tackle. Again, you can find and define who can make plays in space and who can't. So a little bit of a different twist on some drills. Again, it teaches you pursuit angles, as you can kind of see here. Number 48 coming back into the picture, pursuing the football. Is a really good look at him approaching near pec, near hip the whole way through as he adjusts and runs and gets the football down. So defensively, I think it builds a lot of confidence. And number one, in what you've been drilled as far as how you guys train your kids to play in the open field. And I think it also builds confidence in pursuit angles and their speed. So when they do need to do it. And I think because the open format, you're reducing a lot of injuries, potential injuries. But this is a good drill. We didn't do it all the time, but it was just kind of a change up. I thought it was a really good setup for guys to do and a little bit something different. Not everybody's probably seen this drill. But again, I think you guys catch the drift. At Illinois State, we do a lot of things we call matchups. This is probably nothing earth-shattering to anybody. What we do, again, this is good versus good. What we typically do is we'll do a 5-minute period, specifically in fall camp or in preseason. Sometimes in season we'll do this, but usually it's in our preseason window. But what we're trying to just do, like everybody else, is we're trying to work different drills on the perimeter, right? We're trying to win on the perimeter. It's become such a big perimeter game now, regardless of what conference you're in. Even in the Missouri Valley Football Conference, we play a lot of perimeter-style offenses, so we need to be able to defend it. We need to win on the perimeter. And as an offense goes, if you're going to play on the perimeter, which everybody wants to do, you got to be able to block on the perimeter. And I think, again, it's good versus good. It's competition. It's not necessarily a full speed drill to the ground, but you can kind of see where we're getting things. What we do defensively, and a lot of guys will get mad at us, is we'll always be, regardless what picture you give us, we should always outnumber you. So if you're going to be if you have 2 receivers, we should be 3 over 2. If you give us 3 receivers, we should be 4 over 3. Now, we're telling this guy not to kill anybody. He's still a box player, so he's got to clear his cleats, pause, freeze, and then he can pursue inside out to the football. So it's really just a pursuit drill for him, but for the inside backer. But for everybody else, I think it's a good block destruction. It's good for the guys on the perimeter. We can train our run fits in this, right? We don't want our corner to jump inside. He's a cup defender, right? He should be on the outside of this. So this is a good no-no as far as where we want the alley to be for this safety to run off of. So I think it's a good way just to train fits, whatever coverage you're in. What we've done in the past with this, just to give you guys different thoughts and ideas, is we're a big split safety team. So it might be all cover 4 one day. One day it might be all cover 2. One day it might be our match coverage. So there's different things that you can throw into it. So it's not the same thing, and you can still teach. But again, it still comes down to you training your guys to be able to put their fundamentals to use. And obviously from an offensive standpoint, I think this is a great drill because they can go 4 buys if they want to, like they do in this presentation. All right. And they can do different formations, stacks, all the different things that those guys like to experiment with and test. out on all different players and teams, and we can do it. But this is a good look here at guys winning on the perimeter. And this has been a really good drill for us. I know a lot of people are doing it. We did this a lot when I was at Monroe also. We're a big spread team down there, and kind of the same thought process. Just winning on the perimeter, all right, and guys using their hands. We'll flip the drill. We'll do it both ways. One day we'll just do it on the left. One day we'll do it on the right, defensively or offensively. That way we're not wasting time. Again, it's only about a 5-minute period. We can get at least 12 to 14 snaps in this window and getting it done. And again, here's another presentation, right? If you're going to give us 3 receivers, right, we can always be matched up over it. We're a big man cover team when I was at Louisiana Monroe. But we did run some zones, and this is a great way for us to train our guys to get into it. Offensive coaches, you can kind of see the just different pursuit angles. We're a little bit more thud down here. But, again, guys making plays, guys being able to fit off of each other. I think it's just a great teaching tool, regardless of what coverage you're in. This is a cover 2 concept, right, where we got a flat defender and we got a guy running the alley with the inside backer being the other force defender. And you can get screens and goes, which I think is huge too. This is obviously everybody's complement to some of this stuff as far as taking shots on teams. And I think this has been really beneficial for us. If you watch this and people try to attack us on the perimeter, I think out of our base defense, we're leveraged pretty well, because what we talked about as far as the numbers piece go, we're always going to try and outnumber you. But you can see where guys have the confidence to take shots. We're going to win on the perimeter. We're going to use our hands. It's going to be tough for guys to make blocks on us on the edge. Here's another look in the same football game. Now, this isn't necessarily a definition of domination at the point of attack, but what I did like about this is it kind of adds in the rest of the piece as far as guys pursuing to the football. If you watch all 11 jerseys here, kind of find ways to approach the football and pursue the football, and we turned that into a big loss for them. It was a big play for us. So it wasn't necessarily ideal, but you guys can kind of see. So we're training pursuit angles with this out of different drills without having to line up and make them run 40 yards. We get enough repetitions as it is, it seems like, especially nowadays with offenses wanting to go faster. We don't have our team does have no huddle, but we're not a spread team, so to speak, from a concept standpoint. But we will run 2 huddles at us, so we will go through a lot of reps with our guys. And there's another presentation, right? Again, it's not necessarily perfect, but this is a 3 deep concept to where guys are winning. We get a guy running the alley, right? He's used to it. He's in comfortable position. He can go make him a nice ball play. So nothing that nobody else is really doing. But again, we try to force that. We make it happen. So we don't have to have a scout or a service period. It's good versus good, right? And if sometimes myself and Coach Bethard will talk about what we specifically want to see. But again, it's we're going to train our 3 main coverages from basically our quarters coverage, our split safety, our 2 deep, and then our 3 deep concepts out of all this stuff, and just get these guys confident. Here's another look at a 3 deep concept where we're going to run this alley and go make a nice, easy ball play. So been a really good drill. Like I said, the proof is in the pudding. While we're doing the matchup drill, you can kind of see we'll have the matchups here, all right? But what we're doing is we're trying to be as efficient as we can. So in the same 5-minute group that we do here at Illinois State is we'll be doing to the field. In this situation, we'll have our perimeter, our bubble drill, and into the boundary, we're going to go pass rush, good versus good, outside backer, inside backer. You can change it up to where maybe it's a defensive back if you're activating those guys, corners, safeties. But again, it's really good for us because we get to steal one-on-one reps, and it's really good for these guys because the running backs and tight ends never, ever seem to have enough time to do one-on-ones and work their pass protection reps. And again, it's all about development, right? We're never, ever going to be perfect the first time we do something. And again, we'll flip-flop it, but we're never going to be perfect the first time we do something. So it's about repetitions, right? The more times that we can give these guys reps, the more times that we can give them the ability to try different things in their toolbox, whether it's what we call $1 million move, right? The speed rip, whether it's the Reggie White hump, whatever it might be, club and swims, those different things. We're just trying to train these guys on different ways. And then we'll always incorporate a quarterback in this drill. All right, Coach Hall, he's a running back coach, so he likes to just run around back there. But that's really good for us. Instead of me getting pissy back here, it's really good for us because that forces us to have quarterback leverage. And just about every quarterback we play nowadays, right, can move, and that's what we need to understand. We need to understand where that quarterback is in the pocket
because if both of us run past the quarterback, we've opened up a big escape lane, we've exposed our coverage, we got a big issue. So we still want to keep them in the pocket. And it's the same thing our defensive line coach talks with them, and our outside linebacker coach talks with them, is that we're putting them in different environments and we're teaching them different things besides just the pass rush, right? Where's the quarterback at? Is he inside and in front of me? So a lot of different drills that we can do with these guys, a lot of different things that we can help them. And again, it's the same presentation, right? Up top, it's a 5-minute drill. We got the bubble drill going. We got pass rush going here. And again, we can get a lot of different repetitions and we can get good versus good. Guys can get more and more confident with what they're doing with their pass rush. So when it really counts on one of the few Saturdays that we actually get to play games, we get better at. All right. This last drill is kind of mostly just a corner drill, receiver type deal. We'll also throw DBs into it. But basically what it is, we have one defensive back, two receivers. Coach is going to throw them the football. All right. They're both going to run basically hitches. We're going to pedal out as if we're in coverage. We're going to react off the football. So whoever catches the football, who becomes the primary target, the off receiver is now going to basically become the stalk block guy. So we're just trying to get off the block. We're trying to buy time. We're trying to understand our judgment as far as, can I make a play? Can I knife it? Can I not make it? Do I need to get my hands to them? Do I need to make sure that I'm buying time for our help and our support? What we try to do in all of our drills is we always try to give them some kind of realistic thought process as far as where's your support, right? Like we saw in the bubble drill. We all knew where the sideline was at. We all knew what coverage we were in. And we stressed that, right? Where's your help? Where can you send your help? What do you need to do to be able to be successful? So with just constant things that we continue to drill with the guys. So again, we're kind of coaching the details. So again, it's just a good thing. It's not necessarily 1,000 miles an hour, but it's a good change up for us. This last drill that we have is we used to call this match when I was at Monroe, and I think this is a good competition drill. It's a basically almost a variation to one-on-one. We were a big man cover team, so the linebackers and we just had linebackers, but we would do the same thing here at Illinois State. But basically, our linebackers are playing man-to-man over the tight ends and the running backs. Our safeties and our corners are doing basically the same drill versus the receivers. But what we have is we have a defensive player, offensive player. It's kind of a top of a route type thought process for the offense. There's basically a handful of cones. The first 3 cones, he can run a hitch, he can run an in, he can run an out. There's another set of cones, you'll see it here later on, where it turns into a post, turns into a 7-cut, and then he can continue to get vertical. Our offensive coach will stand back here and he'll just point to a cone. And the reason why this is a good drill is, number one, we're still getting one-on-one competition. I'm talking from an offensive standpoint. We're getting one-on-one competition. We can work our stems. We can stem our route concepts. We can work our angles that we need to get to. We can basically use his leverage against him, but it's really good for that quarterback back here because now he's got to throw the football. Basically, he's got to throw receivers open, which is obviously man-to-man coverage is becoming more and more popular at every level. But it gives these guys an opportunity to really kind of get better as a quarterback and throw guys that get open. So like I said, offensive coach will stand back here. He points to this cone. As a defensive player, all we're doing is we're basically working what we consider our catch technique. We're going to play with inside leverage. You can play with outside leverage. You can change it up. It doesn't really matter. But we're going to clear our cleats, and we're going to read his stem. As we read his stem, I'm going to open with my outside foot to him, post with my opposite hand, and then I want to work it back into where I can get to the phase, and then I can play the football. So, again, it's just another good drill. We can get a lot of good repetitions out of this. You can get a lot of good route structures out of it. You can kind of see the other cone here that we're talking about, the middle cone. You can see the outside cone, and then the post cone is going to be over there that we just saw. So, again, it's just giving guys different concepts. This is a nice job here as far as just basically stepping with that outside foot, posting with my inside with the opposite hand, and then we can catch that thing, run them off his route, and get vertical, play the phase. All right. So these ended up being really, really good competitions for us, but I felt it also built a lot of good confidence for my guys in man-to-man coverage, especially in a world that we don't necessarily always live in. We did a lot in Monroe, but again, when you're out in space and you feel confident that you can cover guys, it goes a long way. So as an offensive, you can see the different route structures that you can run out of this drill. Again, match was just a good little change-up, pretty good concept for us. It was really good for us because we could catch it, right? Everybody gets mad because you're sitting on a route, but that's how we train guys in our man-to-man. All right, we still want to stay square here than this young man was. But at the end of it, right, we can attack and play the football, which I think is most important. We're going to show you a drill later on where we do more of that. So Now we're kind of get into the football stuff. So that was kind of the good versus good stuff, some different things that we've shown as far as basically what we've done in the past at different places, kind of a good versus good tackling drill, basically a bubble drill, right, a pass rush drill, and then some man-to-man coverage drills. So this next phase is what we call our fit drill, right? And this is probably one of the better things that we've done as a defense, in my opinion. And we kind of ended up evolving into this. So when we do our walkthroughs, when we're in season walkthroughs, all right, this is what we do. We don't install new blitzes or stuff like that. We basically run our stuff week to week so we can coach the hell out of the details, and we can spend a lot of time coaching about what's going to happen with the offense. So we've all played offenses that give us fits, or there's plays or schemes that make us worried. And this is what we do when we have our 10-minute walkthrough before practice starts, whether it's us servicing each other, right, or whether it's a scout team. Right, we'll have cards for them, and then we're just going to basically run our base calls to steal more repetitions into this. All right. What we don't see a lot of from our offense in spring football or fall camp is we don't see a whole bunch of RPOs. We'll see some, but we don't see a ton of them. We don't see a ton of quarterback run game. Right. We don't see a lot of the quarterback flop stuff, or what we call flop, where the quarterback can be the primary runner with gap schemes and things like that. So how do we combat that? Well, we're going to steal reps, not just with our scouts, but we're going to steal reps with each other. Instead of installing new blitzes and pressures, we're going to train you and let you understand out of our base calls, here's these different presentations, here's these different looks. So we can get more and more reps than what we normally would in our scout team period, and we can build confidence with it. And it's not a screw around period, right? We're going to basically get lined up. We're going to play with good pad level, good knee bend. We're going to communicate like a son of a gun, just like you would in a walkthrough, but now we're going to add some more stimulus to it. And then that way we can steal reps on the RPOs and things that we're getting from teams, and we can train our guys on our run fits. And that's been huge for us as we've kind of moved forward. It's been really, really good investment for us. Again, it's not hard to do. It's really easy, and it's been very, very good. We're able to steal a lot of reps. So what do we do typically in season? Things that I think are going to give us a lot of problems as far as the game plan goes and what we're going to do. We'll run this. If we get through this fast enough, what we'll do is we'll start throwing some of our base pressures into it also. So that way we're stealing more reps at some blitzes into some runs besides just our base calls. So again, it's whatever you really want to get done out of it. It's just, we call it the fit drill. It's basically our team run versus a scout team, so to speak. And it's a walkthrough period instead of doing walkthrough. And it's been huge for us. All right. We can it's a good way for us to talk, communicate if there's a problem. The biggest thing that we want, and I don't care if our kids know what's going on, right? So when we get ourselves ready for practice in season, we're going to show them the tape that we want them to see. We're going to show them the cards that are going to come. Our script will be sent out the night before we practice as far as our team script goes. And if you're smart, you pay attention to that script, you're going to know what all the plays you're going to see in that period are. Well, we're kind of tricking our kids. Number one, hopefully they're watching the tape. And number two, we're building confidence in the fact that they know what they're doing, so we're not wasting time and repeating the same thing over and over. We get FSL, whatever it might be unique-wise, right? If it's empty, if it's formation into the sideline, it's just different things that we can talk, remind our guys about. So when we do get into a scout team period, we're not wasting reps. We can be a lot more efficient with it. And that can go on for as long as you want. All right, so I'm going to hop around a little bit, and I apologize about this. But now that's more specific defensive stuff as far as what we really want guys to focus on. And this is what we consider very, very important defensive drills. All right, and the very first one that we do is alley run. A lot of people have different names by it, but a lot of people do this at different places. I've been doing this for a long time, and I think the first time I ever saw the drill was by Virginia Tech back in the early 90s, right, and some bad VHS tape. So this drill kind of has stood its test of time. And the whole emphasis for this is anybody that stands on 2 feet, we will run this at our place. All right. So at Illinois State, our secondary guys run a variation of this. Our outside linebackers run a variation of this. And then obviously the inside backers do. This is the inside linebackers with the drill. But we have a ball carrier right here. He's what we consider our rabbit. And then we have a tackler linebacker right here. All right. And all we're trying to focus on right now is we're just focusing on a couple different things. All right. We're trying to build confidence in the defensive player as far as when it's time to close grass. When can we pull the trigger? We're going to build confidence in pursuit angles, working inside out to the football. We're going to focal point pursue it, which we call the near pec and the near hip. That's our focal point. That's where we want to run. And then at the end of it, we're going to do what we call ghost tackle, all right, where we're going to basically drive off our back leg and pretend like we're tackling a kid, all right? So we're working basically our key footwork movement. We're working eyes, we're working pursuit, and we're going to work tackle. All right, so this is a huge drill for us. It's been really, really good. Again, if I get belt buckle at me, it's what we call a near foot compress. I get belt buckle away, now I'm closing the ground. I want to be as thick and square, but I still want to be inside out to this off the back hip, and this is a pretty decent look right there as far as the hit up, what we call a hit up, right? Tackling to me is a one-legged takeoff, so if you're going to do anything explosive, if you're going to dunk a basketball, if you're going to do a long jump, right, everybody takes off on one foot. I want to be explosive in tackling. I want to work my knockbacks in tackling. It's the same concept. I want to make sure that I'm driving, right? It is a one-legged takeoff, so I can take off with that one leg and explode up and through. If I can explode up and through, that's going to bring my hips and my legs and my chest up and through the ball carrier. So this is another good presentation. So again, you can vary the distance as much as you want. It can be, we can tighten it down if the guys are tired. We can go from the sideline to the hash, create more space, put them in more space. But you guys catch the gist of the drill, and we've seen a lot of different ways. What we don't want is this right here, and I see this all the time, and this is where we have to train guys, especially guys that come up to our level from high school. Is they, number one, they don't trust their speed, and number two, they don't quite understand. So he's almost going to get head up on this ball carrier, which is the last thing I want to do, because now I've given this ball carrier a two-way go, all right? Two-way goes, if anybody's ever tried to tackle anybody, is not a good way to make a living. So again, the focal point is near pec, near hip as we pursue this. And again, if I get belt buckle at me, I'm a near foot compress, belt buckle away, I'm taking the grass, and then at the end of it, I want to hit up and explode with that back leg, turn it into one-legged takeoff. And this shows up at all different levels. If you watch number 42 right here, this is a really good example of it. He's not out in space. It's in the box, right? So this is the world that he lives in as an inside linebacker, but you catch my drift, right? He's got belt buckle at him. He's near foot and compressing. All of a sudden, he sees it away. He can compress the ground, and bam, now he can turn it into a nice, easy roll tackle there. There's another good look here by number 39. Same concept, same drill. Again, as far as just pressing the ground, right? He doesn't have belt buckle at him, so he can keep running to the hip, and he can get a nice, easy tackle, all right? Instead of missing tackles, not giving them two-way goes. It changes in different presentations, different positions. I believe this is going to be DeMarco here, number 47. Again, same thing. It's the same drill, though, right? This drill shows up all the time, and it's not just on defensive side of the football. It's on special teams. So you guys are a special teams coordinator, which I was for about 7 years of my career. This stuff becomes really important. So that's another level. This is going to be the last level here. If you watch number 24 in the bottom of the screen here, it's the exact same drill. Shows up at different levels all over the field. So I think the alley run piece is really, really, really important, and it has been really, really important for a long time. And that's one of those test-of-time drills. I think if you're not doing it, I would strongly suggest that you do it. Now, this next drill is kind of a phase of things that we've done. We call this the 3-cut drill, all right? And we stole this from some guys we visited 2 springs ago. It's actually Dean Hood. It was his drill. We went to Kentucky to visit with those guys. They're doing a really good job on defense. I always like to ask guys, what do you do best? What's your best drill, right? Whatever it might be, regardless of position, what do you guys do best? And this is what they came up with. And this became a huge drill for us. And what we're trying to train you on is there's 3 phases to it. You're early, you're on time, and you're late, right? And what we're training you, all defensive players, at the top of the route, right? As you're coming out of the break, as the receiver's coming out of his break, and you're basically breaking on the football, we're training you 3 different phases of it. The first one, we call this early, right? So I'm going to break early, right? I'm early to the receiver. So when I'm early, what do I want to do? We'll keep it real simple. I want to intercept the football. So in this drill, we have a couple cones for the starting lines. We have a receiver. We have a coach who's going to throw a tennis ball. You can throw footballs. We use tennis balls to make them focus on catching the ball a little bit more. But again, you're early at the top of the route. You can go pick that thing off instead of freezing, right? So we're trying to put kids in the same situations that are going to happen to them. I think one of the coolest things that I've learned or I've seen as I've grown up is when you get to spend some time with guys who coach in the NFL, who are coaching in the NFL, is the vast majority of their time isn't how are they going to make new drills. It's how do they make the drills that they are doing better? How can we train these guys? This is showing up on tape, right? We're having this issue with this fundamental. We're having this issue with this fundamental. How can we get these guys to get better at this? And to me, this is a great example of that because we get kids all the time who freeze, right? They panic. Should I intercept it? Do I let the ball beat me up? What should I do? And we're just training them at different – we're building them confidence to be able to get comfortable in this situation. And we all know the football is the most important thing. All right, so again, here's another look. So basically you get one shot to the left, one shot from your right, and we're out of it. All right, we're going to move on to the next phase of it. But why is this important? This is kind of important. Again, it's all different phases. So our receivers, our linebackers, our defensive backs will all do, or excuse me, our outside linebackers, our inside linebackers, and our DBs will do this drill. All right, again, here's a look up top by number 6. Again, he's a guy who don't panic, just catch the football, right? Seems simple enough, but I think we all know of examples in our head. It's like, damn, I wish that kid would have caught that football. He just panicked. Here's another good look, right? We're going to break in front off the set and transfer. It's a really good job here by 50. He's in front of it. Boom, go catch the football. All right. We're just building confidence for those guys to make high-speed decisions in a high-speed game. All right. Sometimes it's not always going to be perfect down here into the boundary here. All right, and that's kind of what I'm talking about is we don't play it very well, and we kind of freak out on the confidence part of it when we should have had an interception, right? So we're trying to build and basically take advantage of all the opportunities we can on the field. There's another look by 24 as far as he's early in the break, right? You're in front of the receiver, go pick it up. Have confidence, understand that, and go with it, all right? Just trying to build high-speed decisions for him. There's one last look, and again, this shows up on film all the time. All right, and again, here's number 9 with his interception, right? Charles Woody does the same thing. This is exactly the drill right here. We break in front, I'm early, bam, catch it. Now we just got to work on staying on our feet, as you can kind of tell with some of our guys. So the next phase we got to this is what we call on time, all right? So now I've broken, right? I'm not in position to intercept the football. I'm not early, so I'm on time. So what we want to do is we want to take the near arm. I want to take the near arm, and I want to wrap it around his near hip. I want to secure the tackle. All right, I want to hook that near hip. I don't want to hook the shoulder pad. I want to hook that hip. I want to wrap my arm around his waist, and then I can reach with my long arm, right, which is my opposite arm, as far as I can, and I can knock that ball down. All right, I can knock that ball away. So again, this isn't necessarily ideal. Again, it's not high intensity. This is all pre-practice when we're doing this, right? So we're not even fully going yet. I can reach with that long arm, knock that football down. And we'll go the same way with it. Again, we're using a tennis ball to focus on this. So this happens all the time. What we have typically seen, and this is one of my pet peeves, all right, one of my pet peeves, what you typically see is you see as a young player, right, number 23 is going to reach with this arm to try and knock the football down. Doesn't knock the football down. This guy catches the football, and there's nobody left to tackle him, all right? So we want to secure the tackle, right, when we're on time, and we want to make sure that we can still use our long arm to knock the ball down. So here's a good look right here. Down here on the bottom, as far as you kind of see the ball coming back, number 14 here, he throws the ball back across his body. Again, now it's his left arm that he's securing the tackle with, and he can reach further with his long arm to knock that football down. All right, and this shows up all the time, good ones and bad ones. For us, we had a lot of good ones on this, and I've seen different DBs, and I know a lot of DB coaches, oh, man, this is nothing new. We do this stuff all the time with my guys. But what I haven't done is I haven't done this drill with my guys. I haven't done it with the outside linebackers. So now these guys are being a lot more confident in a simple drill. And, again, it takes time over time, right? We do this every single day. We practice different variances of it. But you guys catch my drift. It becomes really important. Again, it's different positions, right, where it's number 47 now, the outside linebacker. He's going to be in the same situation. All right, now this isn't necessarily a great look at securing a tackle, but you do see a really good job of him using his long arm, his left arm, where he can reach even further with that football. All right, so this is a little bit like that drill we showed earlier as far as our competition stuff goes, and this has really been really good for us. Again, here another inside linebacker, right? He's almost early on this, right? So he might have even made a better decision to pick this football off, but at least worst case scenario, he secures and he can use his long arm to get that football out. All right, and that's been huge for us. Been a great drill for us. And again, it's low intensity. You can do this with or without shoulder pads. You can do it all summer long. You can do it in fall camp. All right, so the last thing that we do is we do when we're late, right? So now when we're late, we really want to play the football. We don't play the receiver. We don't play the quarterback. We want to play the ball, right? So when we want to play his hands more specifically, right? So as I secure, my eyes are going to his hands, right? Where is his hands at? Because that's where the football is going to go. And then we want to try and play up and through the ball if at all possible. So we'll give them different landmarks, right? So we can have different ball awareness. The receivers will. So there, it's here, and this next frame, it's going to be right there. It's going to be tighter. So again, we're just going to give you different presentations as far as having ball awareness and attacking the football. We'll go one side to the right, one side to the left. and then boom, we're out of there. All right, and that's been huge for us. There's a really good look right here by I believe this one is Christian. Christian plays it, right? He's not really in position for anything, but he's playing the ball. He's playing the ball, and he can knock that football out, which has been huge. And a lot of times this shows up. A lot of DB coaches will talk about being in phase and playing the hands. It's the same concept, right? He's in phase, he's playing the hands here. It's the same concept as far as just knocking that football down, right? Bam, getting that football out. Again, we want to play up and through the football. We prefer not to knock it down, because if we knock it down, we might be knocking it into his stomach, which we don't want to do. But hey, at some point in time, we got to do whatever is possibly necessary to knock a ball out. There's another good look right here by our boundary safety coming off the hash, and bam, attacking that football. So again, it happens at all different levels. Like I said, I'm sure a lot of DB coaches are falling asleep right now because, oh, coach, we've been doing this forever. But inside, outside linebackers, we haven't done this, and it shows up. If you watch right here on the scramble drill, right, this is a great job here by number 42, Dylan, as far as playing up and through with his hands right there, right? He's up and through. So it's a really good drill. It was a big play for us in that football game. And I think it just makes sense. So the 3-cup drill has been really good for us, what we call the 3-cup drill. We'll use that in a circuit. We don't do a ton of circuits, but some of the stuff that we do is circuit-oriented. There's another variation to what we would consider a circuit. And, again, this is a drill you can do all the time. We call this Vise Tackle. Again, in Vise Tackle, basically what we have is we're giving our guys some options, right? So, again, we're just trying to create tools for their toolbox like we were in the 3-cup drill. And now in the Vise Tackle, we're going to try and train them to understand where their leverage is at and how they should approach the football with their leverage. So we have basically a handful of cones in this drill. All right, we have one cone where everybody starts. So they'll all have their backs to us. The one person is the offensive player, and these 2 guys are going to be the defensive players. All right, there's 3 cones back here. Offensive player, you go to either cone, don't care, and then you come back and you do whatever you want to. What we want the running back to do is we want him to really attack leverage and try and make guys miss. Defensive players, there's 3 more cones, right? And your rules are really simple. Between the 2 of you, you guys sort out what cone you're going to. So it could be this one, and then you come back out of it with the ball carrier, and you're going to Vise Tackle this. So again, another drill that a lot of people have shown. It can be doesn't need to be in full pads, right? It could be in any kind of shoulder pads, no pads. It could be in shoulder pads. You can thud it. You can 2-hand touch it, whatever you want to do. But I think the most important thing is that we are approaching the football with my inside foot is up and my outside foot is back. I am thick with my shoulder pads, and I am square with my shoulder pads to the ball carrier as I approach it. I know I have help on my inside as I approach it. I can feel him. I know he's there. And again, that's how I want to approach it. We want to turn into a Vise, into a buddy tackle. These 2 guys are approaching. Again, they both have their inside foot up. Their outside leg is back. They're thick and square. And the biggest reason why that's a big, important coaching point is, number one, that's how they're going to be strongest, right? Same foot, same shoulder. But more importantly, if this ball is going to bounce, now if the ball bounces, this young man can take 1 step and he's in position again to make a ball play. Where compared to if his outside foot was up, his inside foot was up, his outside foot was up and his inside foot was back, now his next step, he would have to move. In this situation, it's just a much more natural movement, more efficient movement for him to make the play. And we'll split these groups up. You can do it however you want to. We split them up, DBs and outside backers, DBs and inside backers. But again, it's just a different presentation of the drill. As far as the angles and the approach that we go with it, it's all been pretty good stuff for us. All right. Again, it's just Vise Tackle. So really generic stuff, a different spin. I saw some things this offseason that we'll probably add to it is we'll potentially put a blocker in here with the shield, and he'll just move around and he'll block one guy or the other guy. Maybe it's him he blocks. Maybe it's him he blocks. And you can change up your different leverage, how you want to take it on with guys. Do they have to shoot and run it? Do they have to hard join it? Do they have to spill it? Just different things that you can go. So just different thought process to a drill that's pretty simple. But what we love to do at our place at Illinois State is we love to train you on this specific fundamental first. We want you to get really, really good as far as approaching the football before we start adding more and more stimulus to it. All right. This is a really good look as to not how to do it. His outside foot is up. His inside foot is back. He's not thick and square, right? If he declares, and we've seen big enough guys in this conference where all of a sudden that's a broken tackle, breaks through the heart of us, that's bad football. If he bounces on us, now again, that's bad football because I'm going to have to move, and I may never be able to approach that guy again. I may never get to the tackle. But again, this Vise Tackle piece shows up not just on defense, it shows up on special teams, just like Alley Run does, all right, to where all of a sudden guys are going to approach it. And there's a really good look between these two guys as far as having their inside foot up, right? Like to see our head, our lead with our stub here a little bit, which is our chest by number 31, but otherwise you catch my drift. And this shows up with different levels, different players, and they just need to understand leveraging the football and basically inside foot up, outside foot back. Same thing. Bam. We want to be able to gain tackle. Much easier for two guys to tackle one guy than one guy. All right. It's pretty simple math, right? If I have one more player than you do, I have a much better success rate of winning than you will. And that's just kind of how it is. And that's what we're trying to always create. So sometimes it's not always perfect, right? As far as reaching the ball at the same time. But again, it builds more confidence in those guys. Again, Ty in this situation, this inside backer knew that he had help outside. He knew that he had help coming inside out. So, again, because of that, we were in good position. Guys are playing confident. Guys are playing fast. Here's another look, all right, as far as just this is a check down, I think, between the two inside backers. So the ball's checked down. Again, same thought process, right? It's the exact same drill. It shows up all the time, not just with inside backers, but with everybody else. And, again, as we move to the football, right, I know I have help inside. Bam, and we get it cleaned up. So it could have been a god-awful missed tackle, but it wasn't. We ended up getting the ball down, and any tackle is a good tackle. So that's our Vise Tackle drill. Again, there's different things that you can kind of do with that and mix some of that stuff up. The last thing, and we'll kind of hit on, is some of our turnover pass rush stuff. These are some thoughts that we took from some other people when we visited last few years. And this last year, I think we ended up with 52 sacks. I think it was something like that. We had a lot of sacks. The year before, in 2018, my first year here as a defense coordinator, we only had 15. So we did a couple different things. Number one, we made a cut up of all the missed opportunities that we had on sacks, right? And then we validated that about why is it important for us to find a way to become better pass rushers. And then we drilled different things, right? So going into spring practice 2 springs ago, our big focus was, hey, that we left too many opportunities out there. We have to get better at getting sacks. When we get to the quarterback, we have to get him down. And we took that, armed that with the examples of tape, right? Because that validates everything to kids is film. And we took that film and basically built this little system as far as what we wanted to do. So again, this is not the defensive line, all right? This is all of our outside linebackers, our defensive backs, and our inside linebackers, guys who don't always rush the passer. We will activate them quite a bit and different things, but again, we're just stealing stuff. And all we're trying to do with this is we're trying to reach with our off arm, all right? So I'm trying to reach because what we want to do right here in this situation is I want to clear my hips. Well, how do I clear my hips in this scenario? If I can reach with this off arm, that's naturally going to bring my hips around. And that's exactly what we're trying to train these guys is this look right there as I reach back through. And then obviously we'll talk about attacking the football. But if you watch number 5 from the field here, Zeke does a really good job. He's really natural at this as far as clearing his hips, right? He's not the most flexible guy. He is pretty flexible, but he's not a freak of nature, but he can be because when he reaches with that off arm, he can clear his hips. And once I clear my hips, it's pretty hard, just like playing receiver on offense, right? Once I'm even, I'm leaving. Same thing as a defensive player. If you watch number 6 here into the boundary, same thought process. It's hard to see, but if you notice right here is an example, if he throws that off arm, that clears his hips. If he doesn't throw that off arm, he's going to get ran by that offensive lineman, but now he can clear his hips and find his way to the quarterback. So, again, we're going to train all of our guys, our secondary guys, right, as an inside linebacker coach. What's the thing that I don't do enough of? I don't do enough pass rush. And being able to do this basically makes me do that with my guys. We're giving them a good, solid foundation as far as what we want with the tools, right? So, again, here's another good reach by number 6 as far as getting to the quarterback. All right, more and more examples. So I think I'm running out of time, so I'm going to speed up here a little bit. So Tomahawk, the Tomahawk part right here is really simple, right? We're going to, again, you got dealer's choice. Give you your best pass rush move. What we're really worried about on the Tomahawk is this right here, and that's the ball. So what we train our guys about is what's more important is the football. It's not the sack, right? So what we're trying to train them is give them repetitions over and over and over, have ball awareness. When the ball is out, you get the ball out, all right? When you see the football, attack the ball. So, again, the emphasis isn't the pop-up. The emphasis is here of basically attacking that football, finding a way to get that football out. So, again, we'll go once to the right, once to the left with these drills like we just did with our 3-cut drill that we showed you earlier. So, again, it's not a lot of it. It's basically very efficient. It might be a minute and a half per station, but we're getting guys through and going. And if you watch number 42 here, 42 does a great job. It's a big play in this football game for us right here of just having ball awareness, right? And again, there's the hand, there's the football, and he gets it out and he recovers it himself. Ends up being a huge, huge play for us, like any turnover is in any football game. Here's an example of trying to get there. We don't get there, but if you can kind of see right here, we're working to get our hands to that ball, right? So that, again, it's showing up. So what we do from a drill standpoint, we want to make sure that it's validated on film. So what we try to do is we try to show all of our drills, whatever drill that we do, whatever scheme that we do, and we try to validate it with tape, whether it's our tape, whether it's NFL tape, whether it's another university's tape that we've been studying. We want to do as much as we possibly can with that stuff to reinforce what we want, the behaviors that we want from our guys. And then we treat our guys a little bit like kids, right? When we get a behavior that we want from them, we go crazy and get excited. When we don't get a behavior we want from them, we basically fix it. We basically make it known and we move on. But we're not going to belabor the point. Again, we're going to go crazy. So with the match, the handpiece, right, this became real famous. I think Shiano, when he was at Ohio State, made this famous a couple years back. Real popular. What we're trying to simulate is a pass rush. I can't get to the quarterback anymore, right? And again, our D-line does this all the time, right? That's what those guys do. They rush the passer. Our outside backers, our corners, our safeties, these are all corners right here. These guys aren't used to this stuff, so we got to teach them, right? We just can't tell them. We got to teach them, so we drill it. So again, I'm going to match. If he's a right-handed quarterback, I want to match with my left arm. I don't want to jump. I don't want to leave my feet. I just want to match with my left arm. If he's a left-handed quarterback, I'm going to match with my right. Here's another variation of the drill. The quarterback is back over here, and then here's where it shows up, right? Again, we want to validate. Boom, the ball's tipped by the line of scrimmage. You can kind of see it right here by the down lineman. Ball's picked off. Huge play for us. There's another good look by number 90 here. Again, most of these are with our down lineman. But again, if we're ever activated, we're in good shape. So again, he's a right-handed quarterback. I reach with my left. Don't necessarily want to jump, but the ball gets tipped and we're going to the races. All right. Read the pass set's a little bit different set, right? So when we train our guys to be pass rushers, we train them on a couple different levels, and we give them basically a thought process. The first one is to freaking get off the football, right? Regardless of what position is, you have to get your ass off the football. And then you got to realize who's blocking you, all right? And what read the set does is it gives you a little bit of a feel for how are they blocking you, right? So we're going to give you basically two sets. We're going to give you a soft set, which is what most offensive lines are going to give us because they're worried about who we are, speed guys, corners, DBs, and then you're going to get a hard set, right? So when we get a soft set, what's happening is what is in their favor. Their favor is their movement, right? They're sacrificing movement for strength. So what we want to do is we want to turn any soft set into a speed to power rush, right? Any hard set right now when he sets on the line of scrimmage, now he's strong and powerful, but he can't move. So now we want to work an edge right away. So all we're trying to do is we'll take a manager, we'll give them different presentations, hard set, soft set, and let these guys go, all right, and train them and build confidence in what they're doing from a pass rush. It's a really good look right here. As far as soft set, that's speed. Now I'm going to turn it into power, all right? Again, we're just doing the same thing, speed to power right there. Here comes a hard set, I think. Hard set, we want to get an edge. I want to get my hands up and get an edge. And we got different examples of DBs coming. I'm going to get through this here so we can get through it. But again, there's another secondary guy coming on this one before he gets a sack. So, again, we're just training guys to build confidence in what they're doing and get them comfortable with what they're doing as they kind of move through it. All right? So that's basically what I got. So I guess if we have questions.
Yep. I got a couple for you, Coach.
We can kind of go from there.
Yeah, there you go. Got your video back on.
Yep.
And so that team run fit period you talked about early on, would that be a good time for you guys, if you're playing a triple option team to start to introduce that type of stuff?
Yes. Yeah, so when we're in preseason camp, when we're in fall camp, it's really most of our installs. But once we get our installs done, then that's what we would treat our walkthrough. But then we get into all the quarterback run game RPO. So to answer your question, absolutely. I think if you're playing a triple option team, you're trying to find as many different opportunities as you can to give those guys some kind of introduction to stuff. It's not a high intensity deal. It's a teaching period, right? But it's also kind of no nonsense. It's not your typical, I know, and I'm not a big fan of walkthroughs just because everybody gets all uptight and some guys are screwing around and the defensive guys aren't screwing around. Who's ever servicing you is screwing around. So when we do that fit drill, yes, that's the whole goal is to get as many reps, steal as many reps at different things that we can. So whether it's a triple option, whether it's quarterback run game that you see, I can't believe I'm saying this, but maybe it's two-back run fits because nobody runs two backs anymore. Depending on where you're at, sometimes that's an issue for defenses nowadays. It just gives you different variables, and I think you use whatever you need it for.
Yeah, that's a good point. So how do you split time between doing specific techniques with players and some of that real, real game application stuff?
Yeah. So what we've tried to do with the defensive drills that we showed you, where it's kind of just the defensive groupings of guys, what we've tried to do is we've tried to steal time at the start of pre-practice. So we're old school at our place. We do a center quarterback exchange 5 minutes before we do anything else. And instead of us wasting our time, that's what we'll do. And we'll kind of turn into a circuit. We might do 3 stations, might be 4, whatever we need to do, but it's not high intensity, but it's going to be those drills. It might be a pass rush. It might be the 3 cup. It might be Vise Tackle, to where we're just trying to steal more and more reps, and we'll kind of go on a rotation because we're always going to have center quarterback exchange. And it just gives us an opportunity for guys for positions like myself, like the inside linebacker coach and probably the secondary coach, where we don't always have enough time for pass rush. Well, now we're getting it done. We're teaching our guys how to do it. The 3 cut drill, right? Top of the route type stuff. Our secondary guys do that stuff a lot, but I never do it with my guys. We can, but it takes time away from some other stuff, the blocking and the tackling. I just feel like it's a good resourceful tool for us along those lines. And then what we've done with the good versus good, that's all become a matchup period. So for instance, with Coach Spack says, hey, right after individual, before we get into inside run or team, we're going to do matchups. I don't care what you guys do, but you guys need to figure it out. So as a staff on defense and offense, we'll be like, hey, you guys want to do bubble drill today? Hey, do you want to do this drill today? So we can kind of work together. If there's something that we need to see more, they need to see more, we can kind of get that done.
You always get more out of the competition type periods, it seems like, than a lot of the other stuff.
Yeah. I mean, it's and hopefully, like for us, we get to recruit our kids, and coaches done a tremendous job. We got a great roster of kids, but they like to compete, right? And that's what you want. You want guys that want to compete regardless of the circumstances, regardless where you're at. That's what you're always trying to develop amongst them. And I think when it's good versus good, that's part of the development. Is not just the fundamentals, but part of the development is how do you deal with success? How do you deal with failures? And not just as wins and losses, but, I lost that rep or I won this rep, and just continue to build on it.
Yeah. Really appreciate you taking the time to join us, Coach.
Yeah, no problem, Doug. I really appreciate it being here. I really appreciate the job that you guys do for us as coaches. And it's kind of a new normal, hopefully a very temporary normal as we kind of move forward. But we're all in this together. All the things that I've learned over college, coaching football, and basically stolen from somebody at some form or fashion somehow. So more than happy to help. Really proud of what we've done, and excited about the future as we kind of move forward.
Awesome. Thanks.